Hello, it's Kelvin here. Just wanted to introduce this compilation of some of our favourite topics from the podcast. Obviously, if you want to hear the full episodes, they're all available on iTunes, on Spotify and on YouTube. Just search Radioface Comedy. But enough of these dry formalities. Let's move on to the first topic. So, Crease, what is that first topic?
And now we have the most interesting thing that Crease has done this week. Now, I can't help but feel that this is going to be a bit of a downer on that lovely little sting. But recently, yes, it is sad, don't worry. My great-uncle died.
Oh, my God.
No, he was 96. It wasn't a tragedy. It was sad, but it wasn't a tragedy.
I feel this is a bit more appropriate.
He wasn't a king.
No, but I feel like this kind of pays tribute to him a bit more than that one I just played.
He played the Mario one.
You reckon this one?
That's probably a bit disrespectful, actually. I'm going to take that back.
More appropriate.
No, it's not more appropriate.
Okay,
Bless him.
No.
Anyway, my great uncle Ron, he was 96 and he died, and my family have been caught up in the arranging of the funeral and things like that. It's not simply a case of, we just sort something out overnight. It's I'm
just going to stop for one moment. Am I expected to make jokes through this section, or am I meant to be sitting here solemnly thinking, what the hell is he talking about this for? Because at the moment, I'm leaning towards the latter, but I'm more than willing to try the former if you think that will help.
Well, we've already played the Mario thing. I think that's probably the amount of laughs we're going to get out of that initial section. Anyway, so it got me thinking about my funeral arrangements. I mean, it's obviously a very serious business death, but I'd quite like a bit of fun to be had.
But people say that. People say, "Oh, when I die, I don't want to have a sad funeral. I want to have a party, right?
Yeah.
I want to have a party. Everyone celebrates. I don't want people to celebrate my death.
No, because if anything, you'd just be a really pissed off ghost at the back going, "I'm fucking dead. Mourn more."
Yeah, exactly. I want people to mourn me. I want people to suffer.
You want people to write laments.
I want to look down from heaven and see that people are fucking miserable without me. And I don't want to move on. People say that. They say to their partners, I want you to move on. I want you to find someone else if I die before you. I want you to move on. I want you to be happy. No, again, I don't want that. I want them to be permanently reminded that I was the most important person in their life, and they will never recapture that with another person. In fact, I actually would quite happily have a person who visited my other half every single day, dressed in black, and with a big picture of me, which they held up, and they told them how wonderful I was. They reminded my loved ones, look at this face. Do you remember how happy he made you? Do you remember how happy you were when he was here?
You will never be that happy
You will never be that happy again.
And slap them.
What about this? What about a video link to my corpse so that the people who I leave behind can constantly check on me to make sure that I am definitely dead?
Yes.
So that throughout the day they can look up at the video feed, they can check that my corpse is there and it definitely is decaying. There's definitely it's not moved, it's not changed position, it's not, clawing at the coffin, it's not screaming. And they just keep checking it and make sure, he is definitely dead. It's been 3 weeks and he hasn't moved. I reckon he's dead. And then say 3 years later, they can say, right, he's definitely dead. I'll unplug it.
You wouldn't want them to unplug it. You want them to check constantly.
I would. That's the thing. What happens if at 3 years...
Like a rat breaks in or something.
That's the problem, isn't it? Because I wouldn't. I'd be so worried that at 3 years, they'd unplug it and moments later I'd go, oh my God.
What poison did I take?
What poison did I take that put me into this trance? Oh, Romeo!
There we are.
There we are.
Excellent.
What about, here's a question to you. You can die, what about if you can die, but you can live for as long as you want, but the only way you can continue to live is by doing something terrible? Like a vampire, like vampires, how they have to drink blood, right?
Children's blood.
So
drink children's blood.
Use that example. We're not going to use children's blood because the obvious answer to that is no. But let's just take let's say you can drink. Let's say a cat's blood. If you drink cat's blood,
does the cat have to be alive?
No, it can be. Well, it won't be alive after you've got his blood.
No, that's what I'm saying. So if your cat didn't have to be alive, I'd probably just live in a vet's.
Okay, so you live in a vet.
Every time
you become a vet, and every time you have to put down a cat,
just say, "It's painless for it."
throat in front of the owner.
So he's going to.
I only wanted it to be defleed. You just bit the throat. His blood smearing around your mouth.
He's going to a better place. You might want to look away. His head's missing. His head's gone. And I'm like,
oh dear.
Suddenly with a still full injection. Just
my
squirt on the
goodness.
wall. Squirt the injection on the wall.
Oh my god, what a thought.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So that's...
I would struggle if it was a live cat. I own cats.
No, it's a dead cat. Although, admittedly,
roadkill.
Probably
Roadkill. Do I have to?
You can eat. Okay, so you have to drink the blood of roadkill, and then you do that, and then you get to live for another. You get to live for another 10 years every time you do that.
Every time I drink one bit of roadkill, I live for another 10 years. Yeah, fuck yeah.
Would you do that? But you can still. I don't want to risk it. I can't risk not dying. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want to die, but I don't want to not die either. Unless there was, I wouldn't mind if you said to me, you have like you have a button which you press and you will drop dead,
right?
Or you press a button and you'll explode and it's over. Or let's say something more painless than exploding.
No.
You
go to sleep.
You go to sleep. You go to sleep and that's it. You die. That's fine. I'd be up for that. That's fine. I'd choose to live as long as I.
You'd rather choose when you're going to die than have it.
Yeah, of course. I wouldn't want to live for 1,000,000 years. And on day 3 of that arrangement, I'm crushed by an elephant, and I spend the next 1,000,000 years of my life with a big elephant's footprint in my chest, screaming for mercy. It would be abominable. No. Never, not in a million. I can never, ever understand why people want to live forever.
All right, here's a question.
It'd be awful.
Seeing as you're
literally, the planet is dead. All life, all human life, all vegetation, everything, every bacteria, every single thing. And I would have to just sit on this desolate wasteland waiting for the sun to explode in the hope that killed me. Because imagine if the sun exploded and a wave of energy blasted across the galaxy, and afterwards it was just me floating through space going, why am I still alive? Why am I still alive?
Sure.
How would you cope in prison? And would you go on the run if presented with an opportunity?
That's a good
question. So
I think I would be pretty bloody cool in prison.
Really? So you would want to stay in there as long as you could?
Oh, no, I don't mean that. I mean, they would love me.
Why?
Oh, I'd be so cool. It's like, you know Morgan Freeman's character in The Shawshank Redemption?
Right, okay, yes.
I'm that kind of person.
You're the one that everyone would want to be. Everyone would want to be around you.
Yeah.
Would you be? But you realise the only reason that he was popular was because he was always selling them.
He's a fixer. He was a fixer.
He was a fixer. He used to get all of the cigarettes and all these sort of things, the posters for people to hide holes behind.
No, I suppose I'd be more that kind of character. Yeah.
Do you think when you go into prison you have to fit into one of their character roles?
I know how
you can either be the psycho, the crime lord who kind of rules the prison from within. You can be the prison bitch. You can be the hard-nosed guard.
I know. I don't think they allow prisoners to be... I don't think it's a role they play, the Screws. No. I think they're employed by the prison service. I don't think they're just prisoners dressed up.
Okay.
I know how you'd cope in prison. You would go in, you would find the biggest, burliest tattooed man there, and you would become his wife.
You would be the hole behind the poster.
Oh no, let's not go down that road. But actually that's another thing, because if you go in for because obviously how you're treated in prison also depends on what crime you've done. It affects how people react to you. So if you're a gangster, people treat you with respect. If you go in there and you're a child abuser, they will beat the absolute shit of you. They'll treat you appallingly. So with that in mind, if I ever did think, oh shit, I'm going to prison for what I've just done, I would immediately commit a very, very serious criminal act so that I'm going to be in prison, but at least I'm going to be in for prison for something that they'll respect me for.
To get this
straight. So I go in for a burglary, right? I commit a burglary, and then knowing that I'm going into prison, I would do a really big murder.
Right.
I would kill like 5 people really quickly before the police caught me, and then I think, well, it doesn't matter, because when I go into prison, I'm going to be saying, oh, there's that guy who committed 1 burglary and 5 murders.
Would it not be easier not to do the burglary?
But then you're just being arrested for 5 murders.
Do you know
the burglary's been done. I've been arrested for... It doesn't matter. Yeah, drunk and disorderly. I've been drunk and disorderly, right?
So you're talking
I was having,
a night in the cells.
A night in the cells. So I would... while the police were chasing me down the street, I would kill 5 bystanders. So that I could go into prison for drunk and disorderly and 5 murders. And then everyone would say, oh, there's that fucking psycho. First of all, he gets drunk and then he killed fucking 5 people. The guy's a psycho. The guy's a nutter.
You're going to kill 5 people so that your one night in prison isn't too uncomfortable.
Yes, exactly. Because they'll show me more respect that way.
Not on the news.
No, not on the news.
But in
prison, and the prison's where I'm going to be spending the rest of my life.
Night, if you just...
No, not if I've killed 5 people.
Stop killing them.
Stop killing them.
Stop at none.
I'm sick of police telling me that.
So you wake up tomorrow, and you get up, and you go to work, right? You go to work, if you say, I'll just text Crease, tell him about a funny thing that happened today in work. So you write the text out, and you go to your contacts, you scroll down, there's no Crease mob in your contacts. I must have deleted the number by mistake. Never mind, I'll catch him on Skype later, right? Just then, you glance over to your wall at this, where there's pictures of you and me, you know, out on nights out, you and me beaming and stuff like that. But you notice that in every picture, which are exactly as you remember them, there's a picture of you, and it was a picture of previously me, with just another random friend, okay? Just a random friend, and each one doing the same pose as me, but a completely different friend.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
What would you do?
Well, I mean, I'd assume I'd gone mad.
Really? Just from that?
Well, what? I mean, what? There's not really any other explanation, is there? If I believe that you... If I suddenly discover that you don't exist...
Well, hang on, we haven't got to that yet.
Well, that is basically what you're asking me.
It is, but there's going to be more exposition.
Right.
What if you found something that was proof that I existed? A photo in a thing that they couldn't have found. It was like it was stuck to the bottom of one of your cabinets.
Well, ultimately, what could I do? Let's say I do find a photograph. Let's say I do find a photograph of you. What do I do with that information? I can't go to him because everybody else denies it and is clearly telling me otherwise. What can I do with that information? Nothing. I can do fuck all is the answer. Fuck all. That's my answer. I can do nothing.
Leave me?
Well, what do you mean leave you where? I don't know where you are. I have no address. I have no details. I have
You can investigate.
Investigate? What am I? Fucking Sherlock Holmes? What do you mean investigate? I'm not a detective, Chris. I'm willing to say, you know what? I'm not happy about Crease being kidnapped and possibly tortured, but I'm not willing to become a monster in order to save him.
What
from
if a
other
friend
monsters?
came up to you, a mutual friend of ours came up to you and went, literally, like really quietly, they gave you a hug, they saw you, they gave you a hug in the street and went, hiya, Kelvin, how are you? And as they're hugging you, they whisper in your ear, I have information about Crease.
And give me an address. That's now.
Meet me
Yeah.
in Glasgow in 2 days.
Well, no, I was just about to say, I mean, I have to say, the only situation in which I would try and save you in that, I mean, beyond like a bit of basic investigation, is if somebody did give me an address, somebody came up to me in the street and as they walked past, they said, 14 Crompton Road, Macclesfield. And that was it, and then they were gone.
Right.
And I went to that address.
You check 14 Compton Road, by the way, yeah.
And I go to that address, and I might try and break you out. But I mean, even then, I probably.
If you went there, there was a guard on the door with a gun.
Oh no!
You'd leave me.
Fuck you. No.
Honestly,
I'd leave you. No, I'd leave you in that case.
What about there's a sleeping guard on the door with a gun?
Even if I could
hear a sleeping guard.
Even if I could hear screaming coming from inside, and I can hear you in absolute agony inside, and there's a sleeping guard on the door with a gun. No, I wouldn't risk it.
You just go back and eat some Rice Krispies.
I don't want to be shot, Crease. I want to help you, but I don't want to risk my life in doing that. If there was no guard on the door was open, it wasn't
and I was just sat there.
And you were just sat there.
Saying, thank God you found me, I was lost.
I'm a bit lost, Kelvin. You weren't even tied to a chair. I would quite happily tell you to get a move on. I would quite happily go in, you know...
What are the level of people guarding me that you would actually take on?
One guard.
One guard
If
armed
there was
to the
one
teeth.
guard, if I looked through a window, there was one guard and he was asleep and the gun was on the floor in front of him and I thought I could get there before he got to it, I might try and save
Right,
you.
you grab the gun, he gets up and he says, I can't let you take him, and starts walking towards you.
I might shoot him. Or
Really?
I might shoot him in the leg. I wouldn't. I'd like to think I'd shoot him in the leg or something rather than killing him. But yeah, I'd like to. I'd probably have to. Wouldn't
You'd
I?
shoot a man in the leg for me.
Well, I have to really because no, I'd save myself. I'm saving myself.
Oh, you'd run out then? I'm still saving the leg. You shoot the guy in the leg, then you'd run out and leave me there. Sorry, Crease, I tried.
No, but I would be willing to shoot him to save myself. I wouldn't be trying to save you. You're obsessed with the idea that I should be trying to prioritise saving you. But my first priority is myself, and my second is you. So if I can save you without harming me, fine. But if it risks me in a significant way, no.
No. Thanks, Kelv. Right. Well, Kelvin, now it's time for a special topic. It's
Special
time
topic,
for Crease's thought-provoking thought of the week. Should you be eating meat?
I mean, that's one of those...
In this day and age?
In this day and age, I don't know, probably not. I mean, actually, I'll tell you my honest answer to that. I do eat meat, but I recognise that it's hypocritical, because I can recognise that it's a bit mean. It's a bit mean, isn't it?
Bit mean?
Pushing cows into threshing
Haven't
machines.
we moved beyond eating meat?
Sluice gates. Shotguns. They use shotguns to kill animals. No.
No, it's got lead shot
How
in
do
it.
they
Kelvin.
kill animals? I haven't really ever looked into it. I don't really want to know.
The majority of them...
Any vegetarians listening to this will be going, you should know this!
Yeah.
Why don't I know this?
Yeah. The majority of them are...
This is why they all eat meat, because they don't know!
They basically just stun them with electricity, and they strap them up by their legs, and slit their throat, and let them bleed onto the floor.
Don't they bolt gun through their head or something?
Certain things do.
Oh, that's a bit mean, isn't it, really?
Should you be eating meat, Kelvin?
Well, the answer to the question is probably not. But the honest answer is I'm going to keep eating meat because I'm a hypocrite. Because I love meat and all of my eating pleasures, all of the pleasures I derive from eating are almost all of them are derived from meat.
Okay.
So this is my point. So no, I'm a hypocrite.
Okay.
I am a hypocrite, and I recognise that. I want this to be on the record. I am not somebody who tries to justify the fact. Like I don't try and justify. Well, I suppose I do because I like the food, but that should in theory be a terrible reason to do it.
Yes.
But I'm honest about it. I suppose that's my point. I'm honest about it. At least
you're like a polite serial killer.
At least I am. I'm a polite serial killer. I'm a guy who holds up his hand and say, "Look, I'm not saying I should kill these people.
Yeah.
But the fact is." I like killing prostitutes.
And as you were stabbing them, you'd be, I'm terribly sorry about
so
this.
Sorry about it.
I'm
so
sorry. Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying I'm not saying it's right, but
you're acknowledging
that's my position. I'm acknowledging that what I'm doing is wrong. That's my point.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Well,
which makes me better than a hypocrite. Which makes me better than a person who says, "I think that it's perfectly reasonable. Animals are stupid creatures, and so I can do whatever the bloody hell I like to them." I'm not saying that. You notice that I did a dismissive. No. I did a dismissive voice for them because I want them to seem worse than me. If I use my normal voice for them, they would seem on a par with me.
Yes.
That's how I justify it to myself. I say, you know what? I'm eating meat. I'm doing a terrible thing, but I know it's a terrible thing.
You know it's a
and
terrible
I do it because it's one of the few pleasures I get in life.
In many ways, you're a realist.
Don't judge me. Okay, so next topic.
With an unlimited budget, what surgery would you have?
Say that again.
With an unlimited budget, what surgery would you have? What sort of body would you go for? Would you go for sort of the very skinny, wafy sort of model-like thing? Sort of ripped or sort of like...
What about half a woman? What about being half a woman and half a man? So half of your body, you go right down the middle. Right down the middle. So you have a breast on one
You're not
side.
talking like mermaids.
No. I'm talking from the top of your head to your
thorax.
toes. To thorax.
Yeah,
so you would have half of your face is a woman's face.
Sure.
A woman's ear, half of a woman's nose, a little dainty
one
nose. And then you would have
a swell of your breast,
a one breast,
sure,
one perfect breast. Mm-hmm. Then my normal hideous male body on the other side, and then Penis is cut clean in half. Cleft in half, clean down the middle. So I have half a penis.
Sure.
And...
How would that work?
And I suppose half a fanny, if I'm honest.
How would that work, though?
Well, no, that's the only bit. I'm not sure if that would be quite as pleasurable as I first thought. That. No, actually, let's rethink that. Oh, what about this? And then, down at the crucial area, you would have a lady's vagina, but like a penis would come out of it. Like the alien's mouth, like the alien's second mouth. You know? Well, no, it wouldn't have teeth, but I mean, it would, and the penis would come out of that, so it would be like, you know, like you've got both. You've got like the element.
It'd be like a lovely surprise. It'd be like a,
It'd be like a wonderful surprise. Yes, that'd be right. It would be like it would be perfect for bisexuals.
Oh, for pornography, it would be amazing with it, wouldn't it? Because you could have you scissoring somebody. But then there would be something popping out and going into them as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh God, that's kind of
yeah. So that's what I would have. And then I would have a lady's leg on one side and a nice little dainty foot. And then on the other side, my big hairy leg and a hoof.
But you'd have to be careful because you'd have to make sure that your leg was slightly shorter on your lady side so you could wear heels. So you'd have to have a slightly shorter leg.
Yes.
Soft top, people like soft tops, don't they? You know, convertibles.
Oh, so your hair would go back.
Your hair would go back on a hot day. The hair would go like that.
So you're completely bald. And then it
just tucks in the back of your head.
And as it gets cold, it moves back.
Same with the beard as well. The beard just into your ears and then comes out your ears.
Well, that's a really good idea.
There you are.
Okay.
The next topic is local news. Some boys aged 8 and 9 were filmed basically wrestling in a cage in a labour club in Preston, right? They were doing MMA fighting, mixed martial art fighting. And basically, it's the things you see grown, tattooed, burly men, not like you or I, Kelvin, men's men fighting one another. Well, these two are like 8 and 9 year olds, and they've been filmed, and like there's a bit of one's on top of the other trying to strangle it and sort of, you know, punching people. And the people who've done it are arguing that it's sport. You know, oh, it's young people engaging in sport. But it's not really, is it? It's just making an 8 and a 9 year old fight.
Are people betting on it?
They probably are. I don't know, but I bet they are.
If people place a bet on it, it's sport. Whether it's a good sport, it's a sport.
Sure.
Well, now, okay.
Okay,
we're going to analyse this. Let me analyse this then. Let's just take as a given that this is a bad thing.
Yes.
Right?
Children fighting one another.
Made to fight each other. A bad
thing.
Right?
Yes.
A bad thing. But I do just want to pick you up on the fact that you queried it was a sport. Because are you going to say, is boxing a sport?
Yes.
Is MMA fighting a sport?
Yes.
How does the fact that it's a child not make it a sport? Now, before you answer, I want you to remember that I have already acknowledged it is wrong. It is a bad thing. So my question to you is not whether it's acceptable. It isn't, because it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
But what I want you to just acknowledge is that it is a sport, but it's an evil sport. It's a bad sport. It is a sport, though, isn't it? Because people are being made to fight. There's a winner at the end. There's a loser at the end. People are fighting. Probably some bets are being placed on it. It's a sport, but it's an evil sport. It's a bad sport. But that doesn't mean you should call it a sport.
So we're going to go through things. We're going to go through things, and you're going to tell me where the sports. No, we're going to do things.
All right, fine.
Gladiator fighting.
Gladiator fight is a sport, but it's a bad sport. It's a bad thing. It's a bad thing. It's an evil sport, but it is a sport.
Feeding Christians to lions. Now,
it's not really sport because there's no competitive element.
The Christians are armed.
Sport.
They're not armed.
Not sport.
Right.
I'm not sure that.
So a man on a chariot in ancient Rome racing a dwarf who has a goat leading his chariot, and they're having a chariot race in the Circus Maximus. Yes. Sport?
No, it's a bit. I mean, but that's slightly prejudiced against dwarfs. But okay.
Well, a goat probably couldn't pull a grown man. Is my issue.
Okay, fine.
A child on a chariot.
Yeah.
Being pulled by a goat.
No, I don't think that's. Well, I mean, it is sport ultimately, I suppose. Yeah, it's not a very good sport. It's a bit of an unfair, one-sided sport, and it's a bad sport because it's about killing children.
Snake charming.
Not a sport. No sport. No competitive element. No, it's not. No, not sport.
You can just a risk.
No, it's no sport.
No sport.
Not sport. It's an entertainment.
Okay. Is drinking games, are they a sport? Competitive?
No.
Competitive?
No.
No?
I can't say I understand my rules, but they definitely exist.
Okay. Would it make you feel better if I said that the gentleman who'd organised it described it as, I would liken it to a game of chess. It's about outsmarting your opponent.
Now that spoilt it for me because I don't think chess is a sport.
Well,
it's a game. Chess is a
game.
A game, and I don't think that... So now, if he's saying it's like a game of chess, that means it's not a sport.
It's not a sport.
It's not a sport, and
I
feel that's undermined everything I said before about them.
Do you agree with him that 2 8-year-olds pummeling the shit out of each other is very similar to chess?
How tactical is the fight?
Well, I would imagine it's just messy.
2 kids hitting each other.
Yeah, 2 kids hitting each other.
With their fists.
Yeah.
No, that's not. That's nothing like chess. That's not. It's not.
No.
It's 2 children hitting each other. It's like a boxing match.
Are 2 babies fighting? Is that a sport?
Yeah, of course it is a sport.
2 babies fighting to the death.
You
attach...
Are you not right? Listen to me. Listen to me. Listen to me.
No, because
2 babies are equally matched. Tick. There's a competitive element. Tick. They are fighting for the entertainment of other people. Tick.
Right.
It is a sport. It's not a good sport. It's a bad sport. It's a bad
But chess
thing.
is a sport then.
No, chess is not. Chess is not. It's a game.
But then there's
because there's a board. No, because one of the rules with games, one of my other rules, which I haven't mentioned, is that because there's a board with that, you have a board.
Right.
Anything which involves a board is not a sport. It's a game.
Sure. Table tennis. That's kind of a board.
No, it's not. No, you know that's not true. It's a table. By the naming of the game, you should know that that's a lie.
Is snooker a sport?
You're cheating.
It's snooker.
There's a table. It's a snooker table. Come on, man. Listen.
So any game that's played on a table
is a sport.
Is a sport. So if there was a
even
chessboard the size of a table,
even if it's called a game, even if you say let's have a game of snooker, it's not a game. That is itself semantically inaccurate.
It's a sport.
It's a sport. It's a competitive game on a table. That's not a game.
So there's 2 kids standing on either side of a road throwing stones at one another.
Yeah.
And an adult walks past, looks at them, and is amused. A wry smile passes his lips.
Sport.
So
it's not a sport, that though, is it?
Well, it is.
Because that's
it's competitive. No. The 2 people are evenly matched. It's not played on a board. Okay. It's for somebody's amusement.
But there's no. Now let me think about this. Why is that a game? Because that's a game to me. I think that's a game. But there's no. You're right. There's no board.
It's a game of football, though.
It's a game. No, but that's a sport.
But it's a game of football.
No, but that's, again, bad semantics. 2 kids throwing stones at each other across a street.
Yeah.
No, that's not. That's not a game, and it's not a sport. But there's no competitive element. No. I've got you. There's no competitive element. That's why it's not a sport.
Well, of course it is. They're both trying to hit each other.
No, that's not the same. Not unless it was a score. If it was a score, if they had a scoring system, or they were trying to get them into a net or something.
So a 3rd child is chalking up on the thing how many times people have done it. It's a sport.
The second they have somebody counting up the points, sport. But if they don't, and there's no competitive element, they're just throwing stones at each other. That's just 2 vandals.
Sure.
That's 2 vandals.
So chess has no real competitive element to it.
No, there's a board, so that's a game. I actually really enjoyed that one. That was the most fun I've ever had.
There we go.
Next topic.
Okay, right, I'm going to do one of my hypotheticals. Okay, I come to you tomorrow and say, Kelvin, you need to help me. And you say, why, Crease? What's happened? I say, Kelvin...
Is that what I'm like?
Yeah.
Okay.
I say, Kelvin, I've killed someone. Mm-hmm. What do you do?
You've killed someone?
I've killed someone.
How have you killed them? That's the key to this.
Okay.
The key part of this question is, how have you killed them?
Accidentally.
You've accidentally
accidentally. I was driving along, a wasp got into my car and started buzzing around.
And got into your eye?
Near my eye. So right near my eye, buzzing around near my eye.
Right.
And I was going, ah! And I obviously I've swat it away. I look up, there's a person in the middle.
Swerve. The car misses a woman walking along the road, but the wasp
that I've swatted goes into her eye, into her brain.
Okay.
Because it's travelling at the speed of the car plus my swatting.
Yes.
Like a missile from a jet engine.
Yeah.
like a missile fired from a fighter jet. Straight, and literally like a shot from a rifle. Her head flicks back. She collapses to the floor dead.
Okay.
So, and I say, you need to help me.
I've killed someone. Well, I mean, I suppose realistically, in that circumstance, I'd probably tell you to go to the police because it was an accident. It's not your fault.
They're not going to believe that I threw a wasp in her eye.
I think you're exactly right. They wouldn't believe that you've thrown a wasp in their eye. There is almost no chance, unless are your fingerprints on the wasp?
Yes. They dusted the wasp.
They dusted the wasp for fingerprints.
And it's got covered in my fingerprints. And it's on CCTV. And the way I've swerved, it looks almost like a drive-by.
Yes.
Because as I've been driving along, this lady's walking on the side of the road. I swerve towards her, at the last second veer off, open the window.
Yes.
Boom! Straight out.
Like, right, okay.
Okay.
It's quite an ingenious way of killing somebody.
Yeah.
And I suppose, really, batting a wasp into a woman's eye is probably as closest to a situation where I might help you as any. I suppose. No, I mean, I honestly think. I mean, I don't. It depends. It's not a good. It's not a road you want to go down because once you start burying bodies, you start melting them in the bath. That is a bad road to go down.
Okay.
Right.
So this time I come to you,
yes,
and I say you're gonna have to help me. I've been doing this for a while now, and I'm not proud of it. And I open my bedroom door, and there's 10 bodies in there, all in various states of decomposition.
Right. All with wasps crawling around behind their glassy eyes.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
I mean, I've killed 10 people. And so I keep their hands.
I can tell you now, right? I couldn't. That is a good point because I can tell you now, I couldn't be a serial killer for one very specific reason. I
hope it's for more than one reason.
Well, which is that I couldn't hide in the wait of my victims, like in a bush or something like that, like in a park or wherever.
I understand.
I couldn't hide without thinking, this is a really good hiding place for murderers. And I could be murdered.
Just picture the post.
Or if it was like a really good place for serial killers to pick on their victims, you could have a situation where I was hiding and suddenly a serial killer would run out of his hiding place and he would kill me. And then suddenly another serial killer would run on and kill that serial killer.
Oh my God.
And at that moment, another serial killer would run out and he would kill that one.
So there'd be a serial killer.
It would be a serial killer murder.
That would be amazing. A serial killer murder.
And then the sun would rise the next morning and there would just be a pile of bodies with still serial killers running on left and right, stabbing each other. One would run on straight into the arms of the other, stab, and then the next one running on, stab. Just building and building until hundreds and hundreds of bodies, and then more than that, hundreds of thousands of bodies building up in a pile, a mound, an enormous hill of bodies, foul and festering. Then months pass, months of building and building and building until half of Britain is empty, devoid of people, because all of them have been lurching out of the shadows and the dark to murder the other person. Years pass and countries, people are coming in on boats, planes, people are falling out of planes, they're jumping out with parachutes, knives ready, they'll be swimming across the channel, knives in their teeth, guns in their hand, the whole world devoid of life. Nothing, a holocaust of serial killers until nothing was left apart from a single solitary serial killer who would kill the last person and he would stand up and he would say, "What have I done? What have I done?" And he would shoot himself.
So, leading on from the last question, how unpleasant would I have to become for us to stop being friends?
Oh, that is a good question.
How unpleasant, how extreme my views would have to get.
I've got one for you, right? So I am already a very irritating person.
Correct.
Right? I'm already very irritating. So how much more irritating would I have to get before you stopped being friends with me? Okay, so let's think.
If you were... You see, I always think it's kind of brave of those people, like, street performers, when they sort of mock someone's walk. They like these people they sort of go behind somebody doing a silly walk. And I just think that's kind of like schoolyard bullying, but people are paying you at the end of it. So it's kind of like rewarding bullying.
I'm not paying them at the end of it. That's just horrible doing that. Well, mind you, is it though, or is it? It's only taking the piss if they've got a funny walk.
Well, yeah, but I often think like caricaturists pick out your most ridiculous features.
Yeah, but don't pay for a caricature if you don't want to be caricatured. You know what I mean?
I'm saying, but we pay them. It's funny, isn't it? Because we pay them to make our most horrible features, like our big nose or our massive cheeks or whatever. You know, they'll take those and they'll elaborate them to show people, yes, you do have a stupid big nose and funny cheeks. In fact, I wonder how sort of conscious caricaturists are. If somebody comes to them with like a ridiculous sized nose, do they make it a little bit smaller? Do they sort of go, at what point does it become unpleasant? If someone comes with like wonky eyes, do they paint that?
That's a good point.
Do you know what I mean?
So, like, if you actually is somebody who was really that's true. Oh my god, that'd be awful.
Would you paint them with a hair?
You're a caricaturist. Somebody comes to you with a real obvious deformity.
Huge
do you draw
mole,
attention
massive
to it?
mole.
Do you draw attention to
growth
it?
on the side of their face.
Oh my god, that must be the caricaturist's nightmare.
It must be. If you're like the Elephant Man and you sit down in front of him,
the Elephant Man.
Draw me, please.
Would you draw a really handsome man?
with this, with the same hat that you were wearing, but a very handsome man.
That's right.
Do you know what I mean?
But he's riding a skateboard.
Yeah. I don't know what
I've never thought about that. That's a really good point. Next topic.
Next topic is Crease Persuades. I don't think there is a sting for this, but by all means look.
I will look.
Basically, Kelvin, in this section, I am going to try and persuade you to watch something that I am enjoying on either television or the internet or something like that. And this week, I have chosen One Born Every Minute.
Which is?
It's a programme about a maternity unit. Mm-hmm. And it follows expectant parents from them sort of coming in to give birth through to the actual giving birth process. And it has their stories and things. Mm-hmm. But... what's the appeal of it, though? I mean,
well, I think it's just to, full disclosure, you're having a kid, aren't you?
I am, indeed. I am due one in December. And if there was one thing I could have watched beforehand to put me off it, it was One Born Every Minute. I should have watched it earlier.
So is that why you're watching it? Because you're curious about...
Well, I am, but I probably would have watched it anyway, because I find the whole thing sort of terrifyingly fascinating.
The thing is, though, I have got to the age now, at 31, where... all of my friends on Facebook, or anyone that I went to school with, all of them are having babies, right? I have seen so many people holding disgusting, shriveled, little, misshapen blobs in their arms and saying, the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. No! What is wrong with people?
No.
Again, that's a classic example of people have to say that because they can't be honest. They can't say what everybody thinks, which is that your baby is disgusting. It is a disgusting, shriveled little creature.
I think babies are ugly.
Especially in the very first few days. The first few days, weeks of a baby. They are repulsive to look at. I'm telling you now, Crease, when you have that baby, don't you dare ask me to look at your baby in the first few weeks, because I will be physically sick on it if I have to. Babies look like the mummified remains of an ancient Sumerian. They are disgusting. A septic old woman. That's what it's like. It's like the calloused elbow of an old woman 3 weeks dead, not yet discovered. Do you know what I mean? That's what babies look like. And I hate the fact that nobody's honest about it. And do you know what, right? If I ever had a baby and I had a little ugly baby, which is basically all babies, if I ever had a normal baby, which is de facto ugly, and someone came up to me, my mother came up to me and said, "Oh, what a beautiful baby. Oh, he's beautiful. I would then start distrusting her about everything relating to the baby. Because if she can't even be honest about the most obvious and most apparent fact, which is that the baby is a disgusting thing to look at, then I don't trust them in anything. I wouldn't trust her to look after the baby. I wouldn't trust her to offer me advice on how you should look after the baby or what, or any of this. I would not trust somebody who told me that my baby was a cute baby. I wouldn't trust them with anything relating to that baby. The only person that I would trust with my baby and whose opinions I would value is the person who comes up to me and says, "That is an ugly baby." I want to just say that.
You want the midwife to do that. You want the midwife.
I wouldn't trust a midwife. I wouldn't trust a midwife that saw my baby and said, "You should be very proud. What a handsome young baby." I would only trust the advice of a midwife who said, "Here's your ugly baby."
Like all the rest I've delivered.
Yes.
He is as hideous as all the rest.
Like all babies, he looks the same as all other babies.
Do you want me to lock him away for the first 3 months? Until he grows into something resembling a human.
That's right, Crease. That's what
they should say.
Trust.
Yeah.
That's so true. And I want to say, I'm not a sociopath. I'm not saying you should kill all babies.
No.
I'm not saying I don't like babies. I don't like babies. Babies are boring. Babies, that's the other thing. Babies are boring things. They are so boring. People say, oh, my baby had a personality. My baby had a personality. But I'm telling you, your baby does not have a personality. Your baby is the personality of a whining, whinging, precocious arsehole who feels that the world revolves around it. That is the personality of your baby.
So you then?
Yeah, me. Your baby has the personality of me, and that is not a personality you want to be holding up and sort of saying, you know, pay tribute to my baby's personality.
I think you came across out of that well-rounded.
I think I came out of that very well.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, I will. It's all right. I don't want kids, really, so...
No. And by the way, you know when you said you don't want to see it for the first 3 weeks, believe me, I'm going to want to boost its immune system before I bring it anywhere near this festering cesspool.
Oh dear. Next topic.
So, my question to you is, right, you are imprisoned in a room by militants.
Right.
How do you escape?
You're going to have to give me more details about... Okay, so what are my surroundings? You
need
to describe it to me, because I can't tell you how I would escape, because every room is different and every situation is different.
You're in Stockport. And you've got a guard.
No, the guard's outside. I think
He's not got a gun. He's not got a gun. There's just an interrogator in the room, right? He keeps walking up to you and asking you about this thing you know nothing about.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Yeah, you pig, you lion," slapping you around.
Right.
You must tell us. And then after working you over for a little bit, he says, "Do you want a drink?" And you say, "Yeah, coffee, please." And he brings you in.
Coffee?
And he brings you in. He brings you in a piping hot coffee in a mug and puts it next to you.
I like that I have the audacity to ask for coffee in that circumstance.
He says, "Do you want a coffee?"
What sort of a terrorist offers you
coffee? They're making... All right.
We've just brought a new cappuccino machine. Do you want
Western decadent dog?
Yes. Do you want it with a lot of froth or just a thin layer? Would you like chocolate shavings?
So no, genuinely. So he brings you in.
Right.
All right. So it's tea. All right. They're having a. Let's give them a nationality. It's a group of Welsh nationalists.
Okay.
And they're working. They're doing good cop, bad cop, right? So he's like, tell me, well, bloody tell me, boy. And you're like, I don't know. And then he comes back and goes, oh, you want a cup of tea? Nice pan there, do you? And they're like, okay, yeah, I'll have a cup of tea, please.
Yeah.
And he brings you in a cup of tea, and he puts it down in front of you. So you've got a piping hot cup of tea in front of you.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Am I meant to be... I feel like this is like...
I'm setting you up a scenario.
I know you are. You're setting me up a scenario. And I feel like the kid in Nightmare. You know, the old TV show Nightmare where they had to wear the helmet on them? I feel like that because I feel really stupid here because I feel like you're giving me lots of clues of what I should do. And I don't know, Chris.
You've no idea.
I genuinely...
So you're in a room with an unarmed man with a piping hot cup of coffee.
I was going to say, obviously...
And you've no idea what to do.
Well,
you're going to drink it and go, oh, if only I knew... If only I knew how to escape. Oh, this is lovely. Oh, I might blow on this.
This is burning me. Oh,
that's
burning my tongue.
Yeah.
I mean, all right. So fine. So all right. I throw the tea on the guard. I throw it in his face.
In his face. So he's walking back towards you. You pick up the to go and right in his face.
And grab his gun.
Right. Okay, he's got a gun. All right. So you grab his gun. Okay, that's cool.
It's his side. His side.
His sidearm. You've got a sidearm. Yeah. I'm with you. Right. So you grab his sidearm.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Right.
Yeah.
Would you shoot him? He's going, oh!
No.
Oh, my bloody face, I love it! Wait a minute, that's the only thing I bloody had! Oh my god! What's my wife going to say?
Right.
Yeah?
Okay. Okay, so I...
Wait, no, I should have never given you that fucking tea! I had a freezing cold water to give you!
Oh, dear. Okay, so all right, fine. So I would take.
You've got his gun.
It's his only gun.
It's his only gun.
I would take it. I'd put the gun into the back of it. I'd stick it into the back of him. I'd say, "Go outside. You don't want to mess with me. I'm a psycho.
Would you?
My family, they're all being killed. I killed my own family.
Here's an
I'm
idea.
glad you brought me here because it gives me an excuse to kill some bastards." I almost tried to ring a cup of coffee there.
I thought you were going to throw him in the face. Oh, my fucking fist! Right.
So yeah, that's how I'd escape.
That's fantastic.
Hello.
Oh.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello there. This is. You can hear him, yes? You can hear him? Yes.
Just about, yeah.
This is Kittens, everybody. This is Kittens. How are you, Kittens?
Okay, aliens.
What have you done with yourself? Aliens. Okay, aliens. That's an acceptable topic. Aliens. What do you believe in aliens?
No, I'm a rational human being. Of course I don't believe in aliens.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. So, what do you believe in? Do you believe in anything?
What? You're asking me what do I believe in?
Well, I don't mean kind of in the great spiritual sense, but I mean in the sense of, do you believe in, I don't know, goblins, ghouls?
Yes, I do believe in goblins, but I don't believe in aliens.
Okay. You don't believe that there's any kind of, some sort of little cells, some sort of little bacterium on some planet, on some rock, some distant rock?
That can't happen, but goblins do exist, yes.
Right, okay, fine. No, I can't blame you for that. Well, I'm sorry to hear about that. I'm sorry that. What do you think?
Why are you sorry to hear about that?
Well, I'm sorry to hear that you've got such a vast universe out there, and that you have no hope whatsoever that there could be life out there. Although I tend to agree with you.
What's the problem?
No, not really. I have to say, I probably agree with you if I'm honest.
I have hope for planet Earth with all of the goblins we are yet to discover.
What do you think?
We discover new species every single day. And do you know how many new goblin species we discover every single day?
No, go on. Please tell me.
Big fat zero.
Big fat zero?
0% of species discovered on this planet Earth are goblins.
I'm not...
And yet, we all know that this planet is infested with goblins.
What do you think goblins would be like if we did discover one? What form would a goblin take?
I think they would look a lot like, have you ever seen the TV show Star Trek?
Star Trek? Yes, we have seen that, I'm sure, yes.
There's a character on that who has large, round, pointed ears.
Right, yes.
And his name is Dr. Spock.
Right, yes. Yes, I don't know if I would describe it as round ears. I would argue he had just pointy ears. He had ordinary but pointy ears.
They're rounded at the base.
Well, but that's the same with everybody. I have rounded ears, and I'm not an alien. That doesn't mean anything.
I'm not saying... I'm just trying to describe his ears.
Yes, but you wouldn't describe the thing that was mundane about them, i.e. the fact that they are round like a normal person's ears. You would focus on the point. That's the part that's unusual.
I was trying to build up to...
If people were to describe Captain Spock in 3 words, I honestly do not believe that rounded ears would be 2 of them.
Rounded base.
No, you never would mention that part.
Yeah, well, that's
you would say pointy-eared logic monster.
If people were describing hobbits, they'd say they had hairy feet. They wouldn't say they had feet with a heel and arches and toes that also happen to have hair.
Yes.
Heeled feet with hair.
So let's just go back a bit here. You're saying that you think goblins are like Spock.
Yes, let's get back to the goblins.
Yes, you think goblins are like Spock.
Well, I think they kind of look like Spock. They're kind of... do you know Dr. Spock from the TV show Star Trek?
Yes, I do.
He's this big... he's like
He's not big! What's... Your descriptions of Mr. Spock are fucking atrocious. Yeah, again, of all the things you could use to describe Dr. Spock, you wouldn't say he was big, because he was the size of a normal man. He wasn't big.
But compared to a goblin, he's a gigantic pink goblin.
Oh dear. So, but then so am I. I mean, by
You're
that
a gigantic pink goblin.
No, but by the same standards, if we're just comparing everything against goblins, I am a giant goblin. But I'm not the same as Dr. Spock because he was an alien with pointy ears.
Could you win a fight? Do you think you could even... how would you win a fight? If let's say you're walking along around a park and a huge guy's behind you and he's sort of...
So the situation you actually described. So I'm walking along. I'd probably grab his arm.
Okay.
Can I do that? I don't know if he's got a knife. I mean, I sometimes think if somebody's got a knife, in some ways the best thing is to maybe let them stab you once, take the initial stabbing.
You're right.
No, wait, hear me through.
I think that's official advice, actually. Most martial arts will say the best thing to do is let them stab you a little bit.
If you are cornered and somebody's got a knife, I would guess it is better to be stabbed once, knowingly, and a controlled stabbing. So you direct their arm so they stab it into your side.
Under laboratory conditions.
But knowing you're going to be stabbed, so that the second the blade is in you, you are going for their eyes, for their...
Sure.
For whatever. And
I
I'm
don't
coming
believe
at
there's
you.
such a thing
I come
as
at
a
you.
controlled stabbing.
It's a controlled stabbing if you know they're going to stab you, and you know that they're going to go for your throat or your, an organ or
sacrifice something.
I might go.
Like
I might put my through my hand. No, I want my hands. I might try and do it like I might put my leg or my thigh in the way, something like that. But then that fucks your leg. I think maybe the side. So maybe.
You've
I don't know. An internal organ though.
Basically, you would buffer their razor sharp knife. A buttock. You would bend over in front of a man running at you with a knife.
I'm just saying in a dark alley. My first port of call would be to bend over and allow him to stab me in the buttock.
I wouldn't want the knife entering me.
Right.
So I would do everything
I think
I could.
a calf would be alright.
No, because I think you can... I could demonstrate if you want. If I got onto the floor, I reckon I could get you away from me without...
I'm not kidding. We're going to do it now.
Right, okay, hang on.
Okay, what we're going to do... Wait, we're just moving some space in my room. I don't know if he's going to be picked up by the microphone, but we're going to try it.
This is right, okay.
Right, we've put a big space in the room.
I'm going to attempt to
I've got a knife. I'm an assailant. I'm standing here.
So you run towards me, right? Now, my first port of call...
Right.
So the first port of call is try and kick you away, right? So...
Right, so I come at you.
Right? Come try and stab me.
Ow! Right, look, that really did hurt. Right, okay. Right, okay, fine. Don't kick me hard. But right. It is entirely possible that I can't get near to Crease because he's just kicking me.
This is very bad radio.
I'm gonna do one more thing. We're gonna try one more thing.
Here we go.
You will be the one with the knife.
I'll be the stabber.
You.
Okay.
Right.
Right. So this is your plan to do a controlled stabbing.
We're gonna do it in slow motion. I'll show you what I'm gonna do. Right. So come at me. You've stabbed me there
in the heart. For the benefit of the people that are listening, I just stabbed him in the heart. Was that your controlled? Was that your controlled? Did I actually? I know what you did there. Did you get it so it went perfectly in between the two atriums of your heart, so it just sort of basically went straight through your heart. Do that again, yeah. It's quite good fun.
That's quite good fun, wasn't it? People in the chat room have suggested topics then. We asked earlier for some topics, and there are some topics coming up now, including yoghurt. I think yoghurt's disgusting. I think it's absolutely...
That's a very controversial opinion.
Is that really controversial?
I can't think of anyone else who so vehemently hates yoghurt. It's disgusting.
I think it is disgusting.
Like cottage cheese disgusting.
Are you genuinely thinking that's a controversial opinion? What, more controversial than like...
No, I agree.
Not as controversial as that,
in the grand scheme of yeah, no, I'm not saying that there's... I'm saying
more or less controversial than that?
It's less controversial than that, but I would say it's more controversial than saying I don't like ham.
More controversial than that?
I find ham disgusting.
No, that's way more controversial than yoghurt.
Yogurts are disgusting. Is a blanket statement first of all, and there's venom in that. It's not I don't like yogurts. I find yogurts unpleasant.
Yeah.
Yogurts are disgusting.
They are.
That's like saying paedophiles are disgusting. Paedophiles are disgusting, which is a popular opinion.
It's not equivalent to that at all.
No, I'm not saying it's equivalent. I'm saying that but you're adding the same level of sort of anger and aggression to it.
Maybe I am.
Oh, disgusting.
It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting.
They make me physically sick. Do they? If I gave you a piece of haggard, rotting meat with maggots squirming all over it, and opened a fresh yoghurt in front of you, and I went, which one of these is disgusting? Are you telling me you point at both of them?
No, I say both of them.
No, you wouldn't.
I might choose to eat the yogurt over the disgusting rotten
dog,
but I would still say... I'm only doing this under duress. I'm only doing this because I had to.
I am giving you a list of things and you want to tell me whether they're more or less disgusting than yogurt.
Fine.
Okay, paedophiles.
yogurt is potentially more disgusting than a paedophile, because a paedophile can possibly be explained by psychological.
Whereas a yogurt's
disturbance.
responsible for its own.
Well, no,
disgustingness.
but
the
it's still,
sentient
but
yogurt is completely.
That doesn't take away from the fact that a yogurt is downright disgusting, whereas a paedophile his actions are appalling.
Yeah, right, okay,
but arguably, I don't know the psychology of paedophilia, but presumably there is a psychological issue there.
It was a poor argument by me.
So yogurt's more disgusting than paedophiles. Yes.
Right. Incest.
Depends on the quality of the partner. If you had a very unattractive brother or sister and you found them sexually exciting, that would be more disgusting than yogurt. But if you had a very, very attractive brother or sister and you found something about them slightly alluring,
sure,
I think that would be less disgusting than yogurt.
So just so we're clear, if I put a very attractive sister of yours in front of you, in lingerie, and I put a yogurt and opened it up, and went, choose.
I would choose to have sex with my attractive sister rather than eat a yogurt. Rather than eat a yogurt.
I'm prepared to admit you do feel that was a qualified answer. You find yogurts disgusting.
I'm being sincere. I find them repulsive. They are bitter. They are often lumpy. They are just. They are repulsive. They are absolutely repulsive. I'm sorry. Next.
I can't find me a bit of paper. Where are we? Oh, this is good.
Right.
This is another one by Birdie.
Right.
First crushes.
I don't actually know who my very first crush was.
Chitara from Thundercat.
Really?
I'm not kidding you.
So you were a lecture even when you were a child?
I think it was a symbolism, because if you remember, she had a very short pole.
She had a pole.
And when she wrapped her hands around it, it grew in length.
Okay. I have to say, it's sad, but genuinely probably one of my first ones was a cartoon character. It was Ariel from The Little Mermaid. The bit, because she gets naked, doesn't she? I've
never seen The Little Mermaid.
Are you kidding me?
No. I had an argument with somebody about...
The evil sea witch, Ursula.
Yes.
Who is an
octopus, half octopus.
Half octopus, half purple Pat Butcher. And she made a deal with the Little Mermaid that in exchange for her voice, she would turn Ariel into a human. And
yes.
Ariel's previously unattractive fishtail transformed into the naked legs of a young woman. And I emphasise, I was a child when I thought this. And to my young mind, that was like, oh my goodness, there is a naked lady with legs. Which is yeah, well, you do. I mean, you don't she doesn't have a funny. She doesn't it's not like
a clamshell over it.
They haven't animated a funny or whatever. But they have animated but she was like, she had, she was naked, but it was in profile, and it was like a silhouette, but with just enough to tease my young developing sexuality.
Ah,
yes,
that's true. What about real humans rather than
real
fictional?
Humans? I don't know. Did you have any particularly interesting crushes?
I'm just trying to think. I mean, there was a teacher when I was in school, and I remember thinking, "Oh, isn't she pretty?" But then I probably wasn't fully aware of why.
Well, you're not when you're younger, are you? You're not aware when you're younger of sexuality. That's the thing. You're not aware. You're genuinely not aware of it. In fact, a lot of the time you kind of think you like a person. But you like a person a lot, but you don't know why. You can't, or you just kind of
want to be a friend.
You just want to be around.
I want to be a friend. Yeah, I probably want to be a friend.
And you don't really even understand sexuality. I can remember when I was a kid. Me and my brother used to share a bath.
Right.
And I need to clarify the story quickly. I know. No, when I was younger, me and my brother used to share a bath, and I would have been, I don't know how old I would have been. Say 6, maybe 6, 7, and even at that young age, I was getting erections. Yeah. Right. Well, I was probably just starting to get erections.
Of course. Yeah.
And I used to lie on my back in the bath.
Oh God.
And he used to use my erect penis as if it was like the lever that guided a boat. And the idea was that he would use my penis like the joystick. He used my. He used to use my penis, my erect penis, as if it was like the joystick of a boat. And we would lie in the bath, and I would kind of go up and down the sides of the bath, while he would manipulate my cock and pretend that I was, we were soaring down a beautiful sunny river. God. And that's what we used to do. We used to do that, and I would just lie there quite happy.
How the fuck have we got from first questions to your brother wanking you off in a bath?
Well, he didn't wank me off. I mean, it's very important to say. He never wanked me off. There was no... Because you don't control a boat by rhythmically pounding on the gear stick, do you? What you do is you just roughly manipulate it. Up, down, left, right. And that guides the boat where you want it to go. And that's what he did. So there we are.
Oh, please ring the bell.
Yes.
Please. Oh.
He won't be forgiving me for that story. If he ever hears that. If he ever hears I told that story.
Yeah. Oh, God, I'm actually crying. Okay. Oh, God.
I can't decide whether I'll cut that or not. I don't know.
Anyway. Oh, God.
Right. Well, the end is upon us. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much to Crease. And obviously, thanks to our guests, both Paddy and Kittens. As always, you can hear the full podcast episodes on iTunes, on Spotify and on YouTube. Just search for Radioface Comedy. You can also follow us on the usual places. We are Radioface Comedy on Twitter, Facebook and again on YouTube. Thank you again for listening, and until next time, bye-bye.
Alright, let's turn the tables.
Right.
Very quickly. You've got the serious illness.
Yes.
You've got wobbly bone syndrome.
I have wobbly bone syndrome.
And you want me to stab you to death.
Right, okay.
Just in your heart, once into your heart.
A single blow to the heart.
And as I approach you and say, you ready, Kelv?
Yes.
And you go, yeah. And I'll go, it's been an honour, mate. And you go, thank you, Crease. Likewise, it's been an honour.
Right.
And then, just as I'm sticking the blade in, I go, I've wanted to do this for fucking ages. And then...